There are many coffee-dedicated scales available on the market, which in many cases are extremely expensive. In this video, I want to show that you don't have to spend a fortune to get a really good scale. I found it on AliExpress and managed to buy a version without a logo, but it is most often available under the Fuego brand. The version without a logo is the cheapest, although the same scale can also be found under more well-known brands for twice the price. Why do I like it so much? This scale is of course made of plastic, with an additional silicone pad that protects it from liquid and scratches during coffee extraction. The bottom of the scale has two silicone elements that keep the scale stable on the surface. This is a small scale that is rather dedicated to espresso, latte or cappuccino, as it fits perfectly into these types of cups. Of course, it works great for coffee weighting. On the front there is a display and two touch buttons on the left and right. The left button is used to switch the timer and change unit, and the right to turn the scale on and off, tearing the scale and change mode. On the right side of the scale, there is a USB-C charging port with a silicone cover that protects against dirt, and a power switch for the scale. Since the silicone pad is not attached to the scale in any way, it easily falls off. I solved this problem with a very simple and effective mod. I stuck magnetic tapes to the silicone pad and to the back of the scale. This keeps the pad stable on the scale, and I can still remove it for cleaning. The scale is accurate to 0.1 grams. The minimum weight measurement is also 0.1 grams and the maximum is 2 kilograms. It is equipped with a 700 mAh battery, which I have to charge relatively rarely, I think once a week. The scale automatically turns off when inactive for a long time. The scale has a total of 3 automatic modes. Of course, you can still tare manually, which I prefer. To change the mode, double tap the right button. If M1 or M2 is not visible on the scale is in manual mode, where you must tare or turn on the timer manually. The first mode, called M1, is for pour over. When you put the dripper on, press the left button and then pour in the coffee. After pouring in the ground coffee, wait a moment until the scale beeps and tears, and then you can start pouring in the water. The dose will be saved and the scale will start counting down when you start pouring water. To end the measuring process, remove the dripper from the scale. Then the scale will stop measuring the time, alternately showing time and water weight, and after a while, ground coffee to water ratio and dose. The second mode, called M2, is for espresso. This is a simple mode that automatically tears the scale when you place a cup on it and starts counting down the time and weight when extraction begins. Once extraction is complete, the scale will show the total extraction time and the weight of the espresso. When you remove the cup from the scale, it will reset. The switch located on the right edge of the scale allows you to turn the scale power off, turn the scale power on, and turn the scale power on with the sound on. Thanks to this, we can turn it off completely, so it will not respond to the touch buttons. This is useful when you do not intend to use the scale for a long time, for example, while traveling. If charging is required, the scale will notify you with a red battery indicator that appears periodically. You will be able to use the scale for a short time, while longer until the battery runs out. I checked the accuracy of the scale using a coin that weighs 5 grams. Comparing it with another scale that is more accurate, I find that the scale shows the correct result. I think this scale is excellent in terms of its features, build quality and price quality ratio. You can easily buy it on AliExpress for about $20. It is also aesthetically pleasing and works great, especially for espresso, due to its small size. What do you think about this scale? Maybe you have one too? Share your experience in the comments. Thanks for watching. I encourage you to support my channel by subscribing and rating this video. See you soon!